is what you get. Craig's going to have this confused look. It's like, that's the poster.
The dog is in here.
Nice.
That's the look I'm... Goodness.
All right, grab your D20 for when we get our news. Craig, have your D20 ready.
I need a D20.
Oh, man, where am I? Oh, wait, I know. I got it.
Yes, when we do history, we're going to determine what order we're doing history in.
We're rolling for initiative.
Yes, we are. Exactly what we're doing.
I have no initiative.
That's okay. I have
to break out my new one.
I did not know that Technorama required dice.
the initiative. The initiative is with the key. All right, Technorama podcast.
Let me warm these up.
Good
They
luck.
don't roll right when they're cold.
As me.
Happens when you get older.
You gotta warm it up.
Honey!
You know how they have a comedian that starts getting wound up before the show? That's what I need. That's what I need.
Okay, share now. Public. All right, let's see if we can drag some unsuspecting victims from Facebook in here.
I was trying to think on how long it's been since I've actually been in a studio.
Been on Technorama?
Or just in a studio in general. Technorama, I believe, was the last thing I've done.
Was it pre-COVID?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
then that's 2 years.
Was it when we were screwing around with the computer at your house?
We can look. I mean, it's not, we have an archive of things.
Yeah.
It's not that tough to figure out. Well, we've got nobody at the beginning of the show, so what do you say we get started? I'm going to do one final audio check on the levels. Craig, give me a hello and welcome to Technorama check.
Hello and welcome to Technorama. I'm here for your satisfaction.
Don't say satisfaction.
Pleasure? I'll go back to satisfaction.
Ribbed for you. This show
I
is
had ribs tonight for your pleasure.
There it is.
There you go.
Edit that soundbite.
Wow. Oh, that's right. We're recording.
No, yeah, we're not the official audio recording.
No,
but
I'm sure
the stream is. Yeah. It says pre-show. No, it says birthday calendar. What the?
Yay.
I got it.
All right, give me the pre-show. We don't have a crawler for pre-show. You got to go to Brand.
Brand. That's right.
Brand has the big banners.
You guys have been doing this for how long?
This stuff is only like 3 months old.
Pretty soon we'll have this thing nailed down, Tim.
Well, put the bug back up, man.
And then you'll switch platforms again.
Yeah, bug.
I know how that goes.
Okay. Yes, just when you get good, then it's upgrade time.
Oh, yeah. Bug. I get you.
I got the bug. The bug is up.
Next should be pre-show.
Well, it should be pre-show because we haven't started recording, but I was going to record it in like 3 seconds, but that's fine with me. Are you done with your pre-show?
B and shift B. Okay.
We should put
Are you ready to start?
We should put that over there. We should put that screen so we're looking at Craig more towards the camera because we want to keep drifting our eyes that way.
Yes, that's what I was saying. It's really.
Yep, I can fix that.
I'm not.
He'll be behind the camera.
He did say earlier y'all were ready, but.
Well, you bring me in and I just like throw off the whole flow of everything and.
Yeah. You know what they say about a third wheel.
Yeah.
We're only now just getting guests on the air. So I want that.
Did you pass the? I assume you passed the immediate COVID test before walking into his house. And
see, I got to change that. We don't want his audio coming out there because then we want to have headphones.
Yeah, we have. I have headphones again.
There.
Do we have Craig's headphones?
Craig's back.
I'm right here.
We could do that. But...
Does that work?
Yeah, I gotta scale this down for that.
You'll see me sitting here going like this, going, "Oh, who are I talking to?"
Dodging that. Let's do that.
Interesting.
And we just want to like keep our eye on Craig. Now he's probably behind the camera for you, isn't he?
Yes, I have a red-shirted camera.
I'm in deep trouble.
How's that? Now you can see him.
That's great for me. How's that for you?
I can do the entire show without looking Craig.
Thanks. What a pro.
we can't quite see the comments, so I'm gonna have to keep those somewhere. That doesn't have a pop out on it, does it?
No,
it does not.
Like it does.
I wish it did. That'd be nice.
It's perfectly fine.
We'll go.
Hey, Tim, I'll tell you what. This is a lot better than trying to do it just on Facebook. Period.
Oh, I bet.
Oh heavens, yes.
Yeah, it always wants to unmute it, and then we can't see the comments, or I got to do this little window acrobatics trying to make it work. It's ridiculous.
Is he behind the camera for you again?
Oh, that's perfectly fine. He's small. It's a tiny little man.
Yeah, well, never mind. I won't stop with the jokes. I'm not going to say anything.
All right. Well, at least when we look at you, we're more in eye line with the camera.
Yes.
We can fix anything with this studio.
Yeah.
You can't fix ugly.
Unfortunately.
Where's that filter?
If you find it, let me know.
Yeah.
The little magic wand icon, it doesn't do anything. I remember there was a birthday card one time. I forget who gave it. It wasn't to me. I think it was a buddy of mine gave it to his mother-in-law. And it said, "I am the birthday fairy. And with the tap of my wand, I will make you 1 year older." And you open up the card and goes, "Oh my gosh, I beat you silly."
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's begin recording this podcast. We do have somebody out there. I believe I'm going to put money on it. That is John Miller Jr.
I hope so.
Okay. We have our D20s ready for the history segment. So we are ready to go. And hopefully more will join us as we go forward. Because if you've been watching this video, okay, Craig, put away the pre-show thing. Just leave the bug up.
Okay. You got it.
There. Nice job. All right. And we are recording in 3, 2, 1. Technorama episode 660, To Fill a Space Cruiser. Hello and welcome to Technorama, the show that takes a lighthearted look at stuff. I was distracted by Amy Bowen's comment that came in right as we were saying that. I should have this rattled off after 660 shows. We take a lighthearted look at tech, science, sci-fi, and all things geek. See, I don't need to read it. I just need to think it, and it'll happen. My name is Chuck Tomasi, or used to be, and
used to be.
Right over there is Craig Stepp. How you doing, Craig?
I'm doing great. Trying to stay dry over here.
And we have in studio guest, longtime friend of the show and longtime absent friend of the show.
Yes.
Tim Adamec. How are you, Tim?
Hanging in. It's been an interesting couple of years. How about you?
And Tim, we were discussing before the show, this is like the 5th generation of this room.
I think so.
Tim is older than like he's seen this room, this one studio go through so many iterations, and this is just the latest of it. He comes in and goes, "Nice change. How long will that last?"
Yeah, right. 2 weeks.
Maybe a little longer.
You never
look good, Tim?
done with a studio, are you? You're never done with a studio.
No.
Hang on. Does it look good,
What's that?
Tim? Does the room look good?
He's asking. You're asking him if it passes muster.
Yeah, because I've only heard you ramble on about it. I don't want to get.
He's the one responsible for a lot of the design in this. Like, we should get a rack mixer this time.
It doesn't matter how it looks from here. It matters how it looks from there.
Good answer. If it ain't on camera, it doesn't count.
Yep.
That's true. All right, fine, whatever.
And the pile of bodies in the back just doesn't say anything about that.
Hey,
Yeah,
they get to vote in the next election.
that's why I got the mini split to kind of chill them so they don't decompose too much too fast. Yeah.
Got to do something in Phoenix.
Wow. We should probably move on in this show. It's going in a very dark direction.
Yeah, we're recording the evidence as we speak.
We're going to do the feedback first.
Letters. Oh, we get letters. We get your letters every day. Mailman, mail today. Reach right in and pull one out.
Ding.
Oh, letters.
Wrong show.
Let's find out what you got to say. Oh, boy. Mailman, mail today.
Well, we didn't get any email or voicemail from any of you. So if you're feeling guilty, good. We did get, however, we got some responses to our question of the week. Our question of the week was actually a couple of weeks ago. May have even been before we went on a holiday break. I'm trying to remember. What was your highlight from 2021? And we did get quite a few responses from that on Facebook. Thank you very much.
Oh, I think I forgot to put in there a bonus. And it's not pandemic related. So,
well, that was what are you looking forward to in 22? We did the week before.
Oh,
we did a forward look. Now we're doing a backward look. We should have done those the other way around based on timing here, but we'll get this eventually. 17 years and we're still working out the kinks. Well-oiled machine.
No, we're forging a path. That's why I prefer to look at it.
With a machete.
That's right.
Okay. Yes. Our question was, what was your highlight from 2021? John Miller Jr. said, his highlight is that he earned his Master of Information Systems and Cybersecurity certificate from the University of Phoenix.
Well, spoiler alert, that's what I actually put in the feedback to actually give him a shout out because he did that. So congratulations, John. For spoiling it.
No, way to go. That doesn't come with a pay raise, by the way.
No.
What else you got?
Well, let's take a look. Our buddy Steve London says highlights of 2021, 2022 or 2020 ending. Working from home. Working from home, 30-second commute to work, much less travels, more time with the family, and more hobby time. The twins graduating, one starting a university, the other landing a job, and starting to bring home the bacon.
Awesome.
I like bacon.
I'm kind of surprised. Steve is from Sweden.
No.
So to use the bring home the bacon thing is interesting to me.
Isn't that an American colloquialism?
He picks them up quick, I guess.
People liking, pork products is pretty universal, I think.
Fair enough.
Bacon. Oh, in German it's Speck. Yeah. That's the only word you need to know. Speck.
He said it. Yeah. It said his wife landing a new job as well, being able to go back to the office, seeing other humans other than family. I guess that was a tipping point of 2021 is when he was like, I'm tired of my family. Anyway. Then 2021 was a pretty bull year. But I managed to finish up some epic hobby projects. I'm a model maker, and in my spare time, they spent way too much money on that this year. Well, a cheap hobby is not a real hobby.
No.
Yeah. Kind of agree with that.
That's a t-shirt right there. Cheap hobby is not a real hobby.
Yeah. Look around the room that you're in, Chuck. Yeah, you have to agree with that.
This started as a hobby.
You know how to make a small fortune in a hobby, right?
Sell it.
Start with a large one.
Yeah. That's right.
I guess those were the comments. You
had a couple.
Well, I'm clicking it, but it's not showing me any comments.
Right. So Gary Lindress said, singing karaoke with friends and accidentally attending the Star Trek convention in Vegas.
That's accidentally attending the Star Trek convention.
Him and his wife went to Vegas. If I remember this right, he's had it on Facebook, and it just happened to coincide with the Star Trek convention, and he said he was not aware of it, but it happened. So,
oh, there we go. Okay, I got mine. And Amy Bowen says, Dragon Con, what Gary said. Mm-hmm. Number 2, being part of the first wave of mRNA vaccines, Team Pfizer. That sounds like it goes on the side of a racing car or something.
Team Pfizer.
And number 3,
I want to thank the Pfizer racing team for bringing me into the running.
Number 3 was walking the National Mall in DC. That is pretty cool.
It is.
That's
the first time you've ever. I mean, I did it for the first time about 3 years ago. It was amazing to see all the things I've only seen pictures of.
Right, and to be able to put them in relationship to each other is like, oh, Lincoln Memorial that way, Washington Monument that way, White House that way. So you can kind of put things.
And there's Martin Luther King Jr. and then there's this, and it's like it's all a lot closer.
World War II Memorial and the Vietnam. Yeah, exactly. So it is a neat place and then just to get an idea of the things that have happened over the course of history in those places. That's why I like going to like London or any place that's got a lot of history. You can go, that happened right here.
Yeah.
One of these days I'll leave the country.
Well, you can just come over to the studio because there's so much history here too.
Fair enough.
Hey, Mexico is just down below you. I've been
Hey,
there.
Mexico, what happened? We actually have a was it in oh man, I get the history things mixed up in this show and the karaoke show. I can't remember which one it was, but if it's coming up, it'll come up. The anniversary of when the Mexican archaeologists found the pyramid of Tenochtitlan in Mexico City.
Mhm.
Like, the old pyramid, I think it was the Pyramid of the Sun.
Uh-huh.
They're like just making a parking lot or a building or something. Go, hey, what are these bricks?
Yeah.
The taqueria.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a lot of cool stuff in history. Thank you, everybody, for that. We will have another question for you at the end of the show. So dance your way out.
Another letter from our listener Dave.
Says it was her first time. I had never been to Washington, D.C. before. I think 2018 or 2019 was my first trip out there. It was a business trip. And I said, I am going to take this sunny afternoon and walk around and see where things are.
Oh, it's totally worth it.
And it's been
Yep.
30 years for me.
There's a few new attractions.
Yeah.
You know,
Try the new
Yeah.
rides.
couple new rides. Yeah.
Okay, let's do the history thing because that can't be as much fun as the show gets. All right, roll your D20, Craig.
Oh, see, this dice now doesn't fail me. It's actually pretty good. 17.
Oh, you're first. I'm second. Tim's third.
All right.
We're not even going to say what our numbers are. You're just going to have to live with it. Roll the music,
Yeah.
Maestro.
I won't say 17.
I'll start. On this day in history for January 12th, 2022, this is the 12th day of the year in the Gregorian calendar. There are 353 days. Oh, man, we got to start the countdown again.
Ah,
It's depressing sometimes. Weren't there just like 4 days left in 20?
yeah.
All right, you're up, Craig.
All right. It was on this date in 1866 that the Royal Aeronautic Society was formed in London.
You have to say that with a British accent. No,
In
please
London.
don't.
No. That was Australian.
That's why. That's why. January 12th, 1932, Hattie Caraway, became the first woman elected in the United States Senate.
On this day in 1967, Dr. James Bedford became the first person cryonically preserved with the intent of future resuscitation.
I love that. The intent is there.
The intent.
Yeah, it was my intent to get you a birthday present too.
That's right.
The thought that counts.
I think a lawyer had some wording, something to say about the wording in
He
there.
wakes up in the year 2999. Welcome to the world of tomorrow.
That's right. And let's see, it was 36 years ago today. Congressman Bill Nelson lifted off from Kennedy Space Center aboard Columbia on the space shuttle mission STS-61C. I didn't know they had letters like that. C, as a payload specialist.
It's Spanish for yes.
C.
It was on this date in 1997 the space shuttle Atlantis launched from the Kennedy Space Center on mission STS-81. No C. To the Russian space station Mir, carrying astronaut Jerry M. Lininger. Lininger? We'll go with that. For a 4-month stay aboard the station, replacing astronaut John E. Blaha.
Wow.
19, not 20, 19 European nations agreed to forbid human cloning on this date in 1998.
Oh, wait. That's only 19. How many European nations are there? Who's the rogue nation that didn't agree?
I don't know.
It was.
Must have been France. It's always France.
It's always France.
Yeah, but I bet they made copies of the agreement.
All right, we're gonna have to roll the music twice at this rate.
All right, so January 12th, 2001, Downtown Disney opened to the public as part of the Disneyland Resort in Anaheim, California.
I think the one was already in Disney World at that point. They always seem to lead the pack on these things.
Mm-hmm.
With few exceptions, of course. On January 12th, 2004, the world's largest ocean liner, RMS Queen Mary 2, made its maiden voyage.
And it was 17 years ago today that Deep Impact launched from Cape Canaveral on a Delta II rocket.
And January 12th, 2007, Comet C 2006 P1 McNaught hit the Earth, the largest comet ever measured, was at its zenith, visible during the day.
The quality goes in before the product goes out. Sorry, that's an old Zenith commercial. Happy birthday goes out of the state to Flemish. Sorry, got some Flemish in my throat. Flemish chemist and physician Jan Baptist van Helmont, born on this date in 1577.
Oh, that would be me.
Yeah.
Johann August
Auf Wiedersehen.
Alfweders. It's
Arfwedson.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Arfwedson. Swedish chemist and academic, was born on that same date, 1792.
Auf Wiedersehen.
All right.
Thank
Born January 12th, 1822, Belgian engineer, designed the internal combustion engine, Etienne Lenore.
We'll work with that. Italian mathematician Gregorio Ricci Corbastro. I could use a good plate of Ricci Corbastro. He was born on this date in 1853.
And thank God I got the American name this time.
Yeah.
Jack London,
I think
American novelist, was born 146 years ago.
I think it's Jacques.
Jacques London.
Jacques London.
Jacques London.
All right. And born January 12th, 1892, Russian engineer and businessman, co-founded the Russian Aircraft Corporation, Mikhail Gurevich. Excuse me.
Paul Hermann Müller, the Swiss chemist and academic Nobel Prize laureate, was born 3 years ago today.
And Igor.
That's Igor to you.
Kurchatov, Russian physicist and academic, was born on that same date in 1903.
And born January 12th, 1905, American archaeologist and academic James Bennett Griffin.
Sergei Korolev. If you know that name, it's because you are a Russian nerd. He's a Russian colonel and engineer, born on the same date in 1907. He's the counterpart to Wernher von Braun.
No kidding.
He was the Russian guy leading their rocket race. Yes.
Wow. Well, luckily von Braun won.
I'm a Russian nerd.
Von Braun won.
Right at the pink cursor.
Yes. January 12th, 1916, American chemist and inventor Ruth R. Benarito.
And Rush Limbaugh, the American talk show host and author, was born 71 years ago today.
Also turning 71 today is American actress and producer Kirstie Alley.
No kidding.
Wow.
Yeah.
They grow up so fast.
I know. Yeah, right.
Oh, wow. American radio host, actor, and author Howard Stern was born on this date, 1954.
And also turning 65 today is American animator, director, and producer John Lasseter.
Also born on that same date in 1964, American computer scientist and businessman, founder of Amazon.com, and man with the biggest phallic rocket, Jeff Bezos.
And American singer-songwriter, producer, actor, and director Rob Zombie is 57 today.
He's got a long CV now.
Yes, he does.
And what have I done with those same 57 years?
Zip.
Listener birthdays
Rebuilt
for
that
the
studio
last...
twice.
Right. I'll bet he's got a nicer studio than I do. Listener birthdays for the last couple of weeks, because we did miss an episode in here. Thomas Gideon on January 3rd from the Command Line podcast. Steve Therian on the 6th. January 8th, which was yesterday as we record this, is, of course, the King. Thank you very much. It's Elvis's birthday. I always remember that. It's on our birthday calendar. You got to say it. Lingo from the Brit and Yankee podcast is on the 9th. Glenn Toler on the 14th. What did I say?
Podcast.
Pubcast.
Yeah,
That's right.
pub-
It is a pubcast. And Ralph Whitfield, a.k.a. Goofy Ralph, is on the 15th. Fuffy Frog on the 17th. Happy birthday to all of you. Craig, put up that thing to tell him how... Is Bezos trying to compensate us for something? Or is that... Very nice. Very nice. We also had this sad news come in at the last minute that we lost a couple celebrities, Dwayne Hickman, Adobe Gillis, and Bob Saget today.
Bob Saget?
Yeah, that was just like a couple hours ago it was announced.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. It's age 65. They don't know the cause of death yet, but they're saying it's not nefarious or drug related or a crime. It doesn't appear to be, at least anyway.
It just sucks.
Yeah.
Mhm.
When your number's up, your number's up. And if your number's up, there you go. Put it on the birthday calendar.
Wait. You missed one.
Did we? No, I said Fluffy Frog.
Oh, did
On
you? I didn't hear you say
Yes.
Oh,
that.
yeah.
So put your number on our calendar so we can give you a shout out when your number's up. That didn't come out right at all.
No. Well, each year. As it
Each
comes
year,
around.
yes, at the appropriate time of year. You go over to chuckchat.com/birthday and fill out the simple form, and we will get you in there. It's a lot of fun. A lot of people have been doing that over the years. Thank you very much. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's do some news.
News and weather, everyone.
All right, Craig, did you have a chance to go through and read these stories? Watch the videos?
I did, actually. This one was pretty cool.
This one is pretty cool. Why don't you start out with this one?
Yeah, everybody's trying to do the AR thing with glasses where they can do the augmented reality. Well, this is
how stylish.
well, just like Jordy, he went from the visor to contacts. You can too. And apparently this company has cut a deal with Adidas and some other companies where they are going to produce contact lenses that have it can produce text and images on the contact itself. And it will do it from obviously your phone or any other kind of devices like that. So it's pretty interesting. And also it did say that it will help if you have presbyopia, which is the near vision problem, where you got to have reading glasses to be able to read. This will help with that as well. So I think that's kind of interesting. I imagine that it would kind of, I was thinking it may have to, because you got to make sure that's clear for anybody. I don't know.
I wonder how
the
good
lenses
that
part.
And
What do you think about
I
that?
thought the use case that I really want to see, this harkens back to our interview with Dr. Michio Kaku. Remember, he was talking about like the augmented reality in your eyes. And really, I have very little interest in the metasphere right now. So my use case is I want to see augmented data. So when you walk up to somebody, you go, I'm supposed to know who this is. I've met them before.
Yeah.
I want to see, hey, this is Craig Stepp. His wife's name is Kim. And you met at
His
the little
social
blah,
security
blah, blah.
number is.
Yeah.
Right.
How's that bank account doing for you? He says.
Yeah.
But
Right.
be able to recall pertinent information so you can keep that relationship or the appearance of a relationship alive. That would solve so many awkward situations. Let me know when we get there.
Speaking of awkward situations,
This podcast.
the security guy in me turns around and looks at it and goes, "Boy, I wonder how long it's going to be till the porn companies hack the wireless protocol on that."
Oh, I expect the porn images to come right
That's-
from your phone to your eyes.
Well, and not just that. I mean, could you imagine walking through a restaurant or something like that, and some little 13-year-old presses something, and all of a sudden you got giant things in your vision that you really don't want?
Well, I thought you were talking about seeing everyone naked.
No.
Well, that
Yeah,
doesn't
but
make you.
wait a minute.
The myth is false. If you're doing a presentation, you picture people in their underwear. It's wrong.
Oh,
It's just
yeah.
wrong.
No.
Tim, I think you let's clarify your words. Not things that you don't want now, maybe later.
Correct. Yeah.
not when you're walking through the food court,
Right.
the
yeah.
mall.
Tim's out finding that kid, going, "Hey, what's the
Yeah.
what'd you do to hack that?
Can you just text me the URL?
Yeah.
Got a QR code I can scan or something?"
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
think
but
the nefarious connections on that, though. I
Yeah.
think it's just gonna be crazy.
I think it's pretty cool though.
I want to
can
know
imagine-
how you power it and the signal, because from the images we saw, it looked like just this little array of almost like flexible circuit board in there with the
Yeah.
and that would obviously go on the iris part of your eye.
Right. You can power it the
But-
same way that you power RFID chips or any of that kind of stuff.
You just have to hold your phone right up. It's near field communication. Just hold your phone up to your right eye and you're fine.
or blink fast.
Yeah, just-
Maybe it works off your
Like it generates current off of the.
I mean, you've
What's
got
wrong with
watches
you?
that blind themselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
shake your head.
I've
a
got
lot.
one. I got one of those watches. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. It was, I believe they introduced that CES this year, did they not?
Yes, that was all
didn't
part
really-
during the
As far as price goes, they said price is initially going to be about twice the price of disposable contact lenses.
That's not bad at all.
And it would come down as, I know, that's what I said too, except I've got to have like the toric lenses, but that made them stupid expensive. We'll see how that goes.
Well, I think at the bottom they said that there wasn't
There wasn't a
w-
release
wasn't a
date
demo.
announced. Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So,
not
you
bad.
know, you got to
It's
take it. Well, how? Yeah, like how clear are these images? How good is the text, or what can you
starts
do
out
with
as
it? You know,
it's like, you know, the original heads up displays were 640 by 480.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we'll see. We no pun intended.
I'm
We'll see.
yeah. Well, I'm interested in it. I'm curious to see where they go with it. So yeah,
Cool. Shall we do the next story?
let's do the next story.
So last month, the China U22
you too.
U222. Isn't that a band name? U222.
Yeah.
Finally, they discovered the cubicle, what they called the mystery hut on the moon. And to everyone's surprise, you know what it turned out to be? A rock.
Gilligan was in there.
You're on the moon. What do you expect to find? They got closer to it. It was 200 meters away. So they sent their little robot off at the breakneck speed of like 200 meters an hour. So an hour later, it creeps up on it. And it turned out to be a rock, which they found to be more of a, not exactly potato shaped. They called it the Jade Rabbit because it kind of looks like a bunny eating grass, and it's going to starve up there on the moon if that's what it's after.
It's gray.
Yeah, it's
It's
gray.
a moon rock. It's gray. There's nothing jade about that.
I'm ready for them to roll around like on Mars, or I'm ready for them to roll around on Mars or on the moon and come across like a Coke can. You know, somehow some trash got ejected from Earth.
Real gods must be crazy moment.
Oh, yeah.
A Coke bottle. There you go.
Coke bottle?
Wow. Haven't heard a reference to that movie in a long time.
Yeah, I just read it myself.
It's got to be on YouTube somewhere. If you don't know, go look up The Gods Must Be Crazy.
So my question on this, how long did it take the rover to get to this rock?
I will tell you. China's space agency then announced it would travel toward the object. Let's see. They said it was 260 feet or 80 meters away.
Okay.
So they sent it off at 656 feet per hour or 20 meters an hour. So if it was 80 meters away at 200
meters an hour.
200 meters an hour is as fast as the rover will go.
Okay. So it could have done that in 10 minutes.
20 minutes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why did it take so long for them to come back and say, oh, yeah,
it's a rock?
Box. It's not the mystery hut.
It took them a month to come.
They wanted to Photoshop the pictures first, so they have credible evidence.
Do you believe all the news you get out of China?
Oh, every word of it.
Hey, by the way,
news going into China.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, they said that they've amassed an impressive 17,239 data files with a total number of 20 gigs of data that they've released out from their findings on the moon. So this is all part of it.
So now they said 17,239 data files. They didn't say images.
Right.
Is somebody looking through like just raw?
I imagine it's probably a mix.
Is it like the Matrix where you're just watching?
Oh, it's probably elevation data and
humidity, temperature.
It's the 7-day weather forecast.
Like the 7-day forecast of Alderaan.
Oh boy.
That's no moon. Whoa, what a coinkydink.
That's right. I imagine it's a mix of like text and data and images, I'm sure.
Right.
That's
Why
pretty cool.
No one listens to this podcast? I don't know. we're having a blast. Tell your friends.
That's right.
Hang out on Sunday nights and laugh along with us, or try to follow along. Keep up with the references. All right, that's it for the news. But we do have a chat room going. We do this show live on Sunday nights at 9:30 Eastern time. We'd love to have you join us on YouTube or Facebook. You can just look for Technorama podcast on either of those. Subscribe, like, do what you do on the social media stuff. Join us in the live chat. We've got John Miller Jr. and Amy Bowen in there. We've got somebody else who hasn't spoke up yet, but that's all we see. We don't know if you're there, and we can even make you part of the show. Like this. See? You're welcome. That was just too handy.
Yeah.
So Sunday nights, 9:30, Technorama podcast. You know what to do. Let's go take a look at our Remember When stuff, because this one actually, Craig, I think you struck gold on this one. We've got a story about a heavy metal guitarist who is opening, or just opened, I should say, just opened an arcade in Madison, Wisconsin. What was the name of his band again? Death.
Oh, I just read it.
Yeah, it's Droids Attack.
Attack.
Droids
Droids
Attack.
Attack.
That's the name of his
How did we
band.
forget that? Oh, God.
Well, it's yeah. I was going. It's not. Yeah, I knew it was something about Brad Van Cowenberg.
Cowenberg.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yes.
He's the frontman of the aptly named metal band Droids Attack, and he partnered up with his buddy Chris Welch of Trixie's Liquor, because, you know, rock and roll and liquor, to open an arcade they call Aftershock Arcade. It is on Washington Street. If you happen to be in the Madison area, look it up. It is on Google Maps. You can find it that way as well. I did. I looked into it. The picture was obviously taken by the Google streetcar before they moved in, because the papers are on the window. It looks like
for rent.
it looked more like Condemned is what it should
Right.
say. But he's got a bunch of the classics in there, like Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man, Space Invaders, Tron, Pole Position, the full cabinets and the sit-down kind, as well as some very obscure ones. What was the other one that he had?
He had the old
Death
Race.
Death Race. Never heard of Death Race, but apparently that's a favorite of Tim's. They tailored one section of the bar, because, you know, the liquor is involved with that. One section of the bar is like a giant Atari 2600 console. I want to see the size of the cartridge you put in that baby.
Oh, no kidding.
Here,
I think it
I
looked.
got a big ET for you.
When I saw that bar, I was like, "Oh, I totally want that." I mean, even you got games on the side too, but it has that huge console. That's awesome.
It's really well done.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that going, I've got a workshop.
And they've got the retro flavor in there too, with the, you know, multicolor paint job.
I
And
didn't even notice that. It's got the old Activision stripes across the top. And
Hey.
wow.
I think just getting ideas for redoing that room.
No, I'm not doing that. This looks more like a roller rink to me. That I would do. The ceiling in the arcade section has cutouts like you're looking at the sections of Pac-Man. You know, if you took out the power pills. He also has, the article says he also has the only known Jolt Cola machine. It was actually a Coke machine that he painted to look just like a Jolt Cola. It dispenses Coke products, by the way.
All right. Yeah.
No sponsorship there.
You can still get Jolt.
You can. Where can you get Jolt?
I've seen it online.
Oh my.
Yeah, I've seen it in places. Yeah.
He's going for the retro look. He's got tokens.
I've had it before, and it's got a Jolt, all right. And
Look at this full-size tabletop Pong.
Wow.
Well, the one thing that I'm not really happy with, I mean, I take issue with, is he's using tokens instead of just quarters.
Why? I mean, why do you have an issue with that?
Because you have to spend the entire $1. You can't just walk out. You have to use all the tokens, or come back to the same place,
right?
With the 2 tokens you had left over, or
well,
whatever you have.
Craig, do you anticipate buying like 1 Bitcoin worth of tokens?
Well,
I mean, if I were going there and I wanted,
if I break $1, I play 50 cents worth of games, I can leave. Otherwise, I got a pocket full of tokens. They're not good anywhere.
What it allows, I didn't know you could retrofit these machines to take tokens.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I thought it was coins only,
Yeah,
but it allows him to adjust the price, because
Right.
back when we were kids, it was 25 cents a play. Then a lot of these went to 50 cents a play. Well, rather than pumping in 4 quarters or more now, he can say, you know, he can set his token to dollar ratio and just say, here's your tokens. And you would, I'm not saying what you have to do, Craig, but if it were me, I'd go, all right, let's say it's $1 a token. Okay. And you want to play these things. I'd probably get $10 and play 10 games. That would be my evening. I wouldn't go get $50 worth of tokens and go, oh, I got a bunch of souvenirs here.
You know what? We have very different lives than arcades, man. I would go.
I want to know if they fixed the Midway coin box, or can my coat hanger trick still work?
I was gonna say only $10. I think I found every quarter that was in my county.
It's one of those skills in college I never really should have advertised.
Oh,
you bend the coat hanger like to the shape of an L, kind of an L, and you stick it in there, and go click, 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 and you could rack up the credits on Ms. Pac-Man like nothing. It was the Midway coin boxes, I think eventually they fixed them by putting the little coin box wall a little higher, and then you couldn't get your
You
coat
can get
hanger.
it in.
I will tell you this. My
Yes.
friend, I've mentioned this before. My friend Mike has a barcade here in town, and which I've been there several times. But he's now opening one at the beach. Oh, excuse me. He's opening one at the beach, so he's got a second location. So these are becoming quite popular, and I think it's really cool because
Really?
yeah.
I wish
It-
I could remember all the patterns to Tron light cycles. I just
Oh,
can't.
I can.
They are completely purged from my memory.
Yeah. But
Oh,
it now, Mike has mostly pinballs in the one here in Rock Hill, but he has a nice library of machines. You know, a lot of the ones you see here in this arcade. You know,
Yeah,
he
and
owns.
they look very well. If
Yeah.
they're in great shape, or they've been very well restored. I mean, you
Oh,
don't
he
see
did
any
say he's been
things-
restoring in this article. He did say
almost
he had been
25 years. I
restoring
think he said.
30, an extra
Wow.
5. Don't short
I
him.
remember he said he started collecting in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
pretty cool stuff.
Mhm.
Pretty cool stuff. I like that one. Thank you, Craig, for finding that for us.
Oh yeah. you're welcome.
And that means it's time to thank someone else in this show, the patrons. Thank you to the
Alright.
people who actually fund this show and keep it going, because we have things like our streaming provider, our hosting provider, our domain registration, and many, many other things to keep this studio and podcast going. And to you, we salute you. And then we read your name on the air.
Yeah.
And then we give you a free bonus podcast that nobody else in the world gets except for
Wait,
this
what?
exclusive club.
You know how much
If
that
you-
costs?
If you want to be part of this exclusive club, well, we talk about some topic that, well, I can't even talk about it. It's so secret. Rule number 1 of the Patreon podcast is you don't talk about the Patreon podcast.
Oh, well, I'll take the area on the show notes where I say Patreon topic this week. I'll take it out.
I'll take what's behind curtain number 3 or Carol Merrill, whichever comes first.
Right.
Thank you to Alexis Duran. I'm just seeing what I can get out of Tim tonight. Alexis Duran, Amber Elstad, Amy Bowen, Averdor Braverman. Thank you, Ben Vaughn and Brian Brown. We got to get Brian back.
Yeah.
Chris MC, Dandy Man Coyer, Dean Jensen, Denise Inglis. Thank you. Gary Lindros. I'm surprised he hasn't chimed in on the chat yet tonight. He's usually around. He was on karaoke last night. We said, hey, karaoke is in the house. John Clifford, John Noble, Yorga Schrowen, Kyle Nishioka, Leon, Mark Kilfoyle, Mike Wills, Chris Martinez, Saturday Morning Media, Stephen Weshy, Steve Therian, Steve Cody, Steve London. I just love ending with the Steve. So if your name is Steve, or you wish it was, or your name is not Steve, whether it's one of those 3 cases,
You can sign up
wanna
and
be on
say
this
you're
list.
Steve. We don't care.
As little as $1 a show. If we don't produce a show, you don't pay. And at the end of the month, they go, you owe $4. It's like, oh, right. Okay, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Heck, $4. I think I waste more in cat food that the cat doesn't eat. Right? So take your cat
If I had a
food,
dime for every cat food, never mind.
redirect it this way. Craig's already got the URL on the screen, but if you're listening, it would be patreon.com/Technorama podcast. That's the URL, patreon.com/Technorama podcast. Head over there, sign up, and feel good. Do something good in 2022. Ooh, there's a slogan.
There you are.
Ooh, that's what I get for hanging around marketing
I'm
people.
glad we're recording this so we can come back and steal that later.
Yeah. We'll have to figure out what we do about the background music, or I'll just say it again as a real voiceover. All right, we do have a Pass Me the Remote. We have a couple of them. And now, the 10 o'clock news. That always sounds more like a news segment to me, doesn't it? But
And
know.
now to you, Tim.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Hey,
Are those
I
carrots
can't get
in
the
your
idea.
refrigerator
get
going
the-
to kill you? We'll tell you right after this message.
Speaking of which, there's one I'm going to put on Netflix called Death to 2021. They had a similar thing at the end of 2020.
Yeah, I haven't watched
You
it
see
yet.
that?
Was it good?
No.
Oh, you've got to watch these. At first, you're like, I really don't want to see anything more about 2020 now that it's over.
No.
Oh, they completely satirically ratted this thing. It is great. And they brought back some of the guests for 2021, like what was her name? Kathy or Karen, the housewife. They've got a
They kinda
new
played off
news
like a
lady.
'em-
Her name is Madison, and she's like, and she's like,
Nice.
she's like, 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 did the Chinese send robots to infiltrate the election? And she says, just asking questions. That's her slogan.
Oh
She
my
doesn't really
God.
say anything. And then whenever somebody calls
That's
her out,
funny.
didn't you tell the American public? She goes, I didn't tell them anything. I'm
I'm
just
just
asking
asking."
questions.
Yeah.
It's like, it is
Ask 'em quick.
brilliant. It is brilliant. So if you
Yeah,
want
they
a good
play it
laugh,
off like a documentary of the year, but then,
yes,
yeah,
It's a good old mockumentary.
and
then.
yes, it is.
Outstanding.
And nobody is safe. Nobody is safe.
Outstanding.
Was it Tracy Ullman? Who's the British comedian that does the? She came back for a second one. I thought it was.
Oh,
Tracy
I don't
Ullman.
remember. I didn't see the second one, and I don't remember who
He says,
everybody that was on the first
I
one.
thought Joe
May have
Biden
been.
was a ghost, but I didn't know you could give vaccines to ghosts because it would just leak all over the floor. But I guess ghosts have veins, so that works.
That's funny.
It's just it is one laugh after another. So if you want a good laugh at 2021's expense, Death to 2021 on Netflix. Donna and I started watching 1883.
Yeah, I
So
saw that was coming on.
It is the prequel
Oh,
to
yes. To Yellowstone. right?
Yellowstone,
Yeah.
which we are done with so far. I think we finished season 3 and season 4 is coming out.
Yeah, my
So
wife's been
this-
watching Yellowstone. She seems to like it.
This is the family before they got to
Right.
Montana.
Hmm.
So it's their journey across the West and how they came in on the train in Texas and interesting stuff. We're enjoying it. This
I
is
would like
okay.
to see more of that.
Yellowstone is pretty violent. If you haven't watched it, it's a good show, but it is very violent.
I've seen a couple of episodes. And
It's
wow.
people get shot like every other scene or hung.
Yeah.
and
Same
nobody
guy's been
goes to
hung
jail.
3 times.
He actually died in the last show, but we just put a mustache on him and hung him again.
Right.
Sorry, Robot Chicken reference there.
Yeah.
Another one on Netflix that we watched is John and Yoko, Above Us Only Sky.
Oh, I haven't seen that yet.
Interesting documentary and lots of great film footage from this is post Beatles era,
Okay.
and they're at what's the name of his house over in Tittenham?
Jeff.
That's not the name of the house. But they bought this big palatial place where with a pond, and they take Julian out on the rowboat and whatnot. And he built a studio just off the kitchen. Who would do such a thing?
I
What a
know.
ridiculous idea. But
Fools.
in walks George Harrison, and they start cutting an album. Yeah, it's
like you do.
it's pretty cool, and the footage is awesome, and it's fun to watch how the people have aged since then. There's one reporter who looks like he's about 18, and he's got this big afro, is now this overweight 60-year-old guy who's bald. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And really, Yoko was probably one of those people who was greatly misunderstood.
Mhm.
She's the outsider who broke up the Beatles. Not really. They had a very rough
Mhm.
career in the 6 or 8 years that they were together,
Yes.
about touring, and they just felt like we've come and
Yeah.
we've done what we
You know
came here
what?
to do.
And that's what I watched some interviews. One had with George Harrison, and I forget which talk show he was on. But anyway, him and they basically said the same thing. It said,
Yeah.
that they were kind of getting to the end of their time, together and ready to start exploring new things anyway. And the guy kept saying, "Well, what about Yoko?" He's like, "It wasn't about Yoko so much."
I
It's-
would say she came along and saved John. They were very well paired for each other. I frankly don't understand her all that well, because she was a conceptual artist and she would do these, artsy fartsy things that are a little outside of my scope of comprehension.
A little.
But what they did say at the very end, kind of a spoiler alert, the title of the show is Above Us Only Sky, which is lyrics right out of Imagine.
Mhm.
And they said those are her words. Yeah, she was extremely influential in that song's lyrics.
Oh, I'm
I
sure.
don't. It should have been credited to John and Yoko. So it's pretty interesting. The show kind of gives you a new perspective on what happened in their personal lives, and how they came to New York and all that kind of stuff. They were actually happy.
Well,
to be
I'll tell you, I think
She
I mentioned this before on Disney Plus. They have the Beatles Get Back, which is a
Yes.
docuseries on them doing Let It Be, the album, and there is tons of archival footage here, but it's been edited down to 3 episodes, but they're kind of long. So
You
I've been
said that was
making my way
Netflix? Where was
Disney Plus.
Disney Plus,
Disney Plus? That's right.
and I'm enjoying watching the behind the scenes footage. It's weird. It's like you're sitting there watching them just do their thing, like
Right.
if you were sitting in the studio, which is
Yeah.
awesome. And just a little surreal also because there's a lot of footage that I haven't seen before. Apparently, it's been out before, but not edited in this way and
It's
put
it's
together.
so funny when they cut to the studio scenes. He'll be singing a song, but you can't hear the backing tracks, and then they'll mix them in,
Right.
Yeah.
and then they take them out again, and it's
Mhm.
like, oh, so that's what Donna hears when I'm practicing karaoke. Just
yeah.
it's like, and when you take the music away, going, well, he's no better than I am.
No, she's probably there going, "What's wrong with the cat?" Oh, it's Chuck. I'm sorry.
I did hear today that they are going to be releasing that on DVD and Blu-ray. That whole series.
Let It Be? I mean, or
Get Back.
Get Back. That's what.
Oh, yeah,
Cool.
they should. It's
For
really
those of
good.
us who don't subscribe, we'll be able to watch it.
Mhm.
All right. I'm everything that comes out on Disney Plus. I'm just a little closer to subscribing, but I also realize I'm going to have a lot of catching up to do.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Well, see,
They
that's why
are-
you need
they're
to subscribe now.
Ranking out is that the Chinese proverb? The best time to subscribe to Disney Plus was 30 years ago.
The second
That's
best
right.
time is today.
Ancient Chinese proverb. We just made
Next
it up.
year, you'll wish you had started today.
All right, let's get on to the next one. Monty Python's Almost the Truth from Netflix.
Right.
I am, and I believe I speak for all of us, Monty Python fans.
Mm-hmm.
The
Absolutely.
this is, I believe, 6 episodes of kind of the behind the scenes as they go through their progression of how they formed and making the movies, making the show,
Right.
what it was like after Graham passed away, doing Spam-A-Lot, the club shows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it gets into a lot of stuff, and you really kind of get a perspective of who was responsible for what,
Mhm.
and how the direction on Holy Grail went between the two Terrys.
Mhm.
Okay.
What worked, what didn't, when they figured this out, and they get into Graham's alcoholism.
Right.
Really?
He couldn't put 2 lines together. How they pulled off Holy Grail, I don't know, because it was a challenge, and the movie comes across well, but you would never suspect they had such a challenge with that aspect of it. It really is some interesting stuff, and of course they show clips of many of your favorite things of. Yeah. Oh, well, I think John Cleese was talking about the Dead Parrot sketch,
Oh, God.
and the
Still one
director,
of the
the
best.
BBC executive or director or something, said, "No, we're going to change it," and they went ahead and did what they came out with anyway. It's like, thank you. Can't imagine that any other way. But little insider stuff like that. That was a whole lot of fun. And they take their jabs at each other, and you find out that Eric Idle was really the kind of the taskmaster to some of the more current ventures. Like, oh, someone was talking about this, and next thing I know, it was Eric got it up and running, and we're looking for financing. Go, wow, okay,
Yeah. Right.
let's join in and do that. So it was a lot of fun to watch that.
I like the subtitle on that though. Monty Python's Almost the Truth, the lawyer's cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oops, I have a typo in here. There we go. World War II in color, Road to Victory. I am,
Oh.
as I get older, I like the historical document stuff.
That's
This
Peter
is
Jackson? Is this or
don't think
yeah.
so.
No, you're thinking the World War One thing that he did.
There's a couple of them on Netflix that are about World War II in color, and I'm about to start another one. This one's called Road to Victory, and they spotlight certain
Mhm.
key pivotal battles that really turned the tide. I always wondered when I was a kid, why did anybody give a crap about Northern Africa? It just seemed like the wrong direction to go. Like, wait, hey, the Italians won the
Yeah.
desert.
It
Good
did
for
seem
you.
like I remember reading about it in school going, why are they there?
You
it
know
seemed
why?
like-
Suez Canal.
Yep.
All of England's oil was coming from the Middle East countries and had to go through the Suez Canal. You control the canal, you control the war.
I
And
thought they
that-
were looking for the Ark.
They launched the Germans at it, or excuse me, they launched the Italians at it and said, "Here, Mussolini, go try this." And he didn't do so well. So then the Germans had to come in and try and finish the job. But that was a close call. They did Iwo Jima. They did Saipan. There were a lot of key pivotal moments, and you realize why those were so important or not in the case of
Mhm.
Iwo Jima.
Right.
There were just they did some that were in the European theater and some that were in the Pacific theater. So Road to Victory was a good one.
Okay.
And
Right.
then the one I just finished up, I watched half of it a couple nights ago, and I finished up right before the podcast, called Mercury 13. This was about the 13 women that were selected in the 1960s to potentially be astronauts, and then President Johnson pulled the plug on the program, and they kind of went, one of them was Wally Funk, who just
Yeah.
went up on Bezos's rocket. She
Right.
was part of that program. And they went through all the testing, and in many tests, they found out they were better suited for some of these things than the male astronauts were, but egos being what they were, and
Yeah.
they just
Yeah, that's a raw deal right
followed
there, to go through all
that
that
Mesmerau.
training just like
Yep.
everybody else, and then, they kinda pull the plug on it because, we can't have women going up there and showing up anybody. That's messed
Well,
up.
that whole program was referenced in Apple's For All Mankind.
Was it?
Yes. If you have not seen that, that's actually quite interesting.
When the first shuttle pilot was selected, she called in there were like 7 women
Mhm.
remaining from this program. And she said, "I want you to be a guest." And then NASA found out, and they made a big PR deal about it. Like, look, we got these women. So, like,
Mhm.
wow, that's pretty
Well, then we get into Nichelle Nichols,
critical.
had a big hand in, recruiting people for the shuttle program, right?
Really? Nichelle?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, she
Oh, yeah,
did.
yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, she was very instrumental, and they had women, men of all, colors and everything was represented. It was pretty cool.
All right, we are winding down in time. So, Craig, what have you got?
So, you got all these great documentaries, and I watched Cobra Kai season 4.
That's a documentary.
It's a documentary. Actually, I enjoyed it. It's a little bit on the young adult drama side, but
I can't
I don't
convince
know.
myself to start watching that.
No,
I'm
me either.
sorry.
I don't know. I just kind of got into it. It's not bad.
And we're glad you did, so we don't have to, and we can
Yes.
still
Well,
talk
I like
about
the
it.
Karate Kid series. At least the first 2.
The movies?
Yeah, the movies. Number 3 sort of falling off a little bit there, but they reference a lot of Miyagi and a lot of not flashbacks, but little bits and pieces that drive the story over these 4 seasons. So it's amazing how much they've actually pulled out, to be honest with you. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good series, and I liked the way it ended. And it says season 5 is coming. So
That's on Netflix also, right?
It is. Let me put
Okay.
that on
Are
there.
you planning to watch Tiger King season 2?
No, pass. Hard pass. I don't care.
Two?
Yes, there is a season 2.
I don't know how they can do that with him in
I
jail, but
don't know.
What do
I
they do? Put a GoPro in the cell? I mean,
I thought the thing about being in jail was you're not supposed to profit or be able to make money.
I'm not even. I couldn't
Not sure
even
how
get
that
through the
works.
first episode of the first season. I'm not even going there. I just see it go by. Like, oh, please no.
Well, I did watch the first season, and it was like watching a train wreck. You couldn't look away. It was
I could. I had no problem looking away.
it was like watching a train wreck in slow motion.
I felt my
Yeah.
IQ dropping as I watched
Do
it.
you watch it? Do you watch it,
chariots of
Tim?
Fire playing in the background from a clown playing a kazoo. I mean, it was the
Chariots
most
of
bizarre
Fire.
thing I've ever seen. It was
And right when you
glorious.
think you've seen it all on that show,
Yeah.
here comes somebody else. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Who is these people? Who are these people?
No,
Yeah.
every episode ends. You go, surely it can't go any. Oh, yes, it can.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous.
Was
What-
that 2020? You want your life back? Was that another horrific 2020
Yeah.
train wreck?
That was 20.
Was it 19?
19.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
All right.
Tim, so what have
Put it
you
on
been
that.
watching? Have you watched anything?
I've just been going down a large nostalgia trip. So for me, it's going back through the whole Blu-ray library. Big thing I've been watching recently are a lot of the old Frank Miller stuff. So V for Vendetta was my most recent thing that I watched this past week.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Oh God, fantastic film. But there was nothing. There's nothing like going back and rewatching Hugo Weaving in that and seeing just how fantastic of an actor he is.
Oh, yeah.
The amount of emotion he conveys and everything he does with just nods of his head and shifts in body posture.
You couldn't even see his lips move.
No, you couldn't see his eyes. You could see nothing but his body. And just fantastic.
They had to have overdubbed that.
There were parts of it that they did.
Anyways, you just get mask sound.
But there were parts of it that did, but I think from what I remember seeing on it, he did the entire movie line for line exactly as was performed there, so that Natalie Portman in most of her scenes was able to play off of it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, you'd have to.
Yes.
Kind of like Darth Vader.
Yes, or the guy who
You
did Golem.
are a traitor and a rebel. Okay, we're going to work that out.
or Bane in the Batman movies, like it hit film.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well,
so yeah, that's largely what I've been doing.
That and Harry Potter.
Harry Potter's on every week on TV.
Is it really?
Yep. It's I think for the past 4 years there has not been a day when a Harry Potter movie is not playing.
I think that's become a new Christmas tradition around here. At least when Lisa and Grant has come over, they want to watch Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's Christmas.
I haven't watched those movies in a long time. I probably should watch them again.
They hold up rather well.
Not too bad. Some parts are aging.
Yes.
Yeah, the kids. They're aging.
Okay, we do have a couple things in the Geek Library.
By the way, speaking of Harry Potter, I haven't watched it yet, but there's that reunion thing they have on HBO Max. It's supposed to be pretty good.
I did see an ad for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway,
if anybody's got HBO Max, let us know how you go.
Wait,
sorry, I hit it at the same time. All right, you're in charge. Hit it. Harry Potter doesn't sparkle.
Not much. No.
You just got to get him in the right light.
They added that in the George Lucas update.
All right, so you want to kind of skip over these two articles?
No, I'm not going to skip over them because I like the first one extremely a lot. The physics of Wiley Coyote's 10 billion volt electromagnet. So the author of this article, Rhett Allain, likes to take sci-fi, and he considers cartoons are sci-fi apparently when they include science. The episode of the Merry Melodies cartoon Compressed Hair, where Wiley Coyote is not after the Roadrunner, he's after Bugs Bunny. And one of the devices that he gets is a giant electromagnet. And I like the, he says, here's the part I liked. While Wiley Coyote is assembling his contraption, he sees what comes in as a huge crate labeled 10 billion volt electric magnet do-it-yourself kit.
Right.
And he said, I can just see the writers of the show going, we can't just do an electromagnet, but it has to be over the top big. And another writer said, let's put a number on there, like 1 million volts. And someone else would probably say, sure, 1 million volts is cool, but what about 10 billion volts? Okay. And then he gets into the science of this. What's an electromagnet? How do they work? What's a regular magnet and what's an electromagnet? Well, first we have to understand Ohm's law. If E equals I R, right?
He's just breaking it down.
He does break it down. He says it's not about the volts, because you can give yourself, a 50,000 volt shock just by rubbing your feet on the carpet and touching, the faucet. It's not the volts that kills you. It's the current. So he rearranges this thing and figures out, well, what's the resistance of the wire? And we have to figure that out. And how much current would be needed. Does all of this, gets into this really great equation that's in this article. I encourage you to check it out. Episode 660 show notes, where you figure out the magnetic force. And the problem is, if you've ever played with magnets, you know that the attraction is really strong, especially with some of these new neodymium ones. When you're close, but you put them 2 feet apart and there's nothing there. I mean, yes, there is a trace of magnetic pull on them. So he said there were a couple of things in this article that just jumped out and grabbed me. He said, one is, in order to power that magnet, he would need about 1 billion watts of electricity. Now, that's not so bad, because the Three Gorges Dam in China generates 21 billion watts. And he says, if he has access to a power source that big, he shouldn't be having a problem with one stinking little rabbit. And then when he goes through the math, he says, they didn't really tell you how far, because apparently in this grand plan, Bugs Bunny's supposed to eat an iron carrot somehow.
Like you do.
Yeah.
Got lots of iron. And
Yeah.
they didn't say how far Bugs Bunny's rabbit hole is from Wiley's cave, but he made this assumption that it's probably about 500 meters. And based on that and the equations and the power and everything you plugged in, the short answer is no, it wouldn't have worked because the force on that magnet from that distance to that carrot would have been about like a human hair pushing on that carrot.
Right.
So it just wouldn't have worked. And yet you see a cruise liner and a rocket ship being pulled into this magnet. So classic Bugs Bunny stuff, but no, won't really work. And the fact that this guy went through the effort to figure out all these formulae to get this to go, no, ain't gonna happen.
You know, I'm glad Rhett Allen didn't write this cartoon then.
I like this. That
would have been a lot more boring.
Yeah.
I think at the time people probably there was more of the volts versus amps thing. If you had said 1 billion amps, most people wouldn't have understood what it was.
No.
But you understand what volts are.
Right.
Right. There's one that he said, I even went one step further. He said, it's actually even worse. I assumed the carrot was a magnet to see if that would have any impact on it. He said, however, the magnetic momentum of an actual piece of iron would depend on the strength of the magnetic field that it induces it.
Right.
This would make the force between the two objects even smaller as distance increases, and that makes it even less likely that the trick is going to work to get Bugs out of his hole. As you can see, the magnetic force between the two objects can be quite complicated to calculate. I guess that's why it takes a genius like Wiley Coyote to even attempt to pull it off.
A super
genius.
Yeah. I love that. By the way, I remember seeing the Bugs Bunny looking at his mailbox and it says Wiley Coyote genius, and he's looking back like, yeah, right. With the side eye. Yeah. Hey, by the way, if you go read this article, be sure to listen to the Warner Brothers music, and just let it play on Spotify or something.
That's actually that tune has an actual name to it.
Yes.
I
have no idea.
I can't remember what it is. It's on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember what it is. Okay, one more article real quick. We have been here for an hour, and we don't want to keep the listener going any longer. A quick article about a gentleman who was struck with ALS, which over in UK is known as motor neuron disease. Dr. Peter Scott Morgan was married in 2014, and in 2017 he was diagnosed with ALS or NMD, motor neuron disease. I'll get her M&Ms.
MND. That's right.
Well, he's now 63, and he said, I know I can't beat this thing, but I want to get ahead of it. So he had, was it not a tripleectomy? What was it called? A tripleostomy. Tripleostomy. He had, looking for those words again. Where were they? He had a tripleostomy, which consisted of 3 surgeries in one: a gastronomy, a colostomy, and a cystotomy, which inserted tubes directly into his stomach, colon, and bladder so that he could get ahead and get nutrients into his system and get the waste out of his system so it wouldn't be such a burden on his husband to take care of him in a few years. But then he got into the technology side of it. He says, well, with that out of the way, I know I'm not going to be able to communicate very well. So he started in with some software and did a virtual version of himself that you got to see the video in there. It's pretty darn impressive. And if you have to communicate with the outside world, that's the way I would want to do it. Links are in the show notes, episode 660 over at chuckchat.com/Technorama.
Hearing him speak, as you were talking about in the video with the avatar, he reminded me of Val Kilmer was using since he's having trouble speaking, he was using an avatar, and it was using, AI, and it was using his library of all the recording and stuff he's done.
He deep faked himself.
He kind of deep fakes himself. And see, the thing about him, not only does he have a great library of spoken word out in his movies, but he did a lot of home videos as well. So he's been recorded all through his life, so he can really articulate it. It sounded great when I heard it. It almost sounds normal. I don't want to say normal, natural. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want to diminish it too much, but it sounds really good.
This is pretty cool. I applaud him for his advancements and what it will mean to the ALS community. Just phenomenal stuff. He claims he touts himself as the world's most advanced cyborg. So he's got machine implants in there too.
Yeah. Well,
all right, that brings us to the end where we've got our question of the week. We didn't even roll the Geek Library music, but too late. Question of the week: which TV show started out promising but turned out to be garbage? Oh man, the list. The list is endless.
Yeah.
It'd probably be easier to name the 3 that didn't.
Yeah, the 3 that did. Right.
Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. But hey, nothing wrong with Bugs Bunny.
That's what I said.
Show.
We said the 3 that aren't. Alf. That show was a parody of itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heroes.
The Facts of Life. There you go.
Facts of Life. We're going to leave that to you, dear listener or viewer, to let us know.
Hey, it started out promising. You got 4 attractive young ladies, but the story just kind of...
And we are limiting this to TV shows. Podcasts like Technorama don't count.
There you go.
Don't forget Caveman.
Yeah, remember they made the show based on the Geico commercial?
I tried so hard to forget Caveman, and here you go bringing it back.
Back to therapy.
That's right.
What are you trying to do? Get him to drink again?
Right.
Okay. That takes us to the end of the show. So let's roll that end of show music. That one. Yeah. Woohoo! Rock those guitars. Thank you very much, Craig. Thanks, Tim, for hanging out with us.
Absolutely. Anytime.
A lot of fun. We are going to go and record our Patreon show in a moment. But until then, we recommend that you let us know your show that turned into garbage. 707-530-2428. Yes.
We excluded podcasts in that, by the way.
That's
so
what
just TV shows. Just TV shows.
Craig wasn't listening very well.
Yeah, just you got to.
You know what? We should exclude podcasts as well.
Did we exclude podcasts from that?
I was just driving the point home. That's all.
Give us an email, technorama@chuckchat.com, or reach out to us on social media and the interwebs, wherever you find Technorama Podcast. Until next time we talk to you or talk at you, give us a binary high five, Craig.
All right, 101. Bye, everybody.
Bye. This concludes our audio recording day. John Miller Jr. is bailing right there.
Yeah, he's like, Raiders, I'm out of here.
We're gonna bail on the broadcast as well. So thank you very much for those of you that have watched or have listened. Well, I guess you're not listening at this point anymore, but we appreciate it. Consider being a Patreon patron. Patreon.com/Technorama Podcast. And we will talk to you again real soon.
Ta.
I'm trying to hit the button. There it is.